do love that intro, I must admit. It's been a while. I think it's been a while, Stefan. How are you?
Yeah, it does feel like a while, doesn't it? We should have seen each other last week at Everton, but yeah, for one thing or another.
So we don't. Yes, absolutely. But we should have done a podcast for the Everton game and then the PSV game. So we've missed like two footballing days, if you like. But we're both suitably attired in black. With our Adidas tops, actually. Nice. We are being paid handsomely for this product placement, of course.
But all right. Where are you on the excitement barometer? Because I'm officially at. I shouldn't get too excited. I shouldn't get too excited.
Yeah, I mean, international break probably is come at a. I'm going to buck the trend. Really, I think it's come at quite a good time. Even in today's game, we learned that Saliba hadn't trained for 10 days and had one training session. Gabriel clearly was feeling a sore muscle or a tight muscle in the warm-up and again during the game. Yes. Obviously, Zinchenko and Ødegaard and who else was who was the third? Smith Rowe, obviously Smith Rowe as well. Out. And then there's Cedric and a couple of others, but not near the first 11 who aren't available. And you just think with the October that's coming up, it could actually be a good time. And Gabriel Jesus, he obviously run himself into the ground today and had cramp by the end of it. So I actually think it's the international break. We've just had a mini time-wise international break with those two games missing, and that performance today was ridiculous. Yeah. It was just so composed and controlled, and I'm not quite sure how to feel, to answer your question in a really long-winded way. I don't know.
Well, I'm still processing whether or not it was because we were so good, or if Brentford weren't quite at the races today.
And which came first?
It's probably a little bit of both, isn't it? But we were good, and like you say, to have had that break and then just to pick up, was really pleasing. I know we had that win in Zurich, but the last league game was obviously disappointing, having lost at Man United. But
having played well.
Exactly what I was going to say. Even in that game, we played well and controlled lots of the game. Just a few silly errors here and there, as seen as Luke's game. And Brentford. I mean, I was surprised how many journalists online recognised that Brentford away is a test. And I was waiting for lots of people to go, do the classic, Brentford, you should beat Brentford. And it's like, well, not really, because Brentford have shown themselves to be, very...
Well, didn't they beat United 4-0 and Leeds 5-2 at home this season already?
Exactly.
That you used the word before the game or during the game or the start of the game, that they are relentless. And they are. Obviously, it's a bit of a marker for us away to Brentford because of what happened last season. First game, obviously lost 2-0. Yeah, no, absolutely. But Brentford, I think more so, because we were roundly mocked and ridiculed for that performance. And, you could argue rightly so in a lot of respects, but there were mitigating circumstances. However, I thought it would be interesting to look at the starting 11 from that game. So get this, right? 13 months ago, only 3 of the players from that game started in the same positions this game. So that's Tierney, Xhaka and Martinelli. Now, if Zinchenko was fit, Tierney wouldn't have played.
No.
Okay. So Ben White also played in that game, but he played at centre-back, not at right-back. So 4 players started both games, but only 3 of them in the same position. So the team that started that day was Leno in goal, Chambers at right back, White and Mari as centre backs, Tierney at left back. Central midfield, Lokonga and Xhaka. Across the 3 in front of those, Pepe on the right, Smith Rowe in the middle, and Martinelli on the left, and Balogun up front on his own.
Because even you said about mitigating circumstances. Obviously, there was a COVID outbreak, and that saw Oba and Lacazette go out. Yeah. But they've gone and been replaced, and there was no chance of them even featuring today. So it's even with all the improvements, there's still so much churn.
Yeah, no, but I think that's why there's so much improvement.
Well, yeah,
that's one doesn't come without the other. I think. So that was I thought that was really quite interesting to compare, barely 12 months apart between the 2 games, and just a completely different team and a completely different attitude. We can't be bullied. Teams can kick us, and it doesn't matter.
That feels like the big shift, doesn't it? This team aren't for being around.
And one thing we feared after losing to United at Old Trafford was what comes next.
Well, that's the massive. That's why I'm really trying to get myself a little bit, because last season, as was pointed out in the All or Nothing documentary that reminded me so painfully of it all, that last season came down to runs, streaks of defeats.
Clusters of defeats.
Yeah, not even draws. Even some of those defeats into draws, and suddenly we're in the Champions League, but they were clusters of defeats, and that is who knows why these things happen, but because it's almost inexplicable, that idea of momentum, isn't it? But it is something that occurred, and I really like the fact that there's such a determination. Even Arteta, after the Man United game, someone said, this is your first defeat of the season. What's that? And he says, no, it won't happen. Just shut it down.
Yeah.
And that, because that could have come back to bite him on the arse. I thought you said this wouldn't happen. That'd be the first thing a journalist say. But he was just like, nope, shut it down. And then boom, away win at Zurich, which could have been, difficult and was a tricky tie. And then Brentford away. Oh, it's just great. It's just.
I'm going to say 2 words to ground you somewhat. Okay, and they are simply Spurs, Liverpool.
Aren't you excited for it though?
I'm absolutely bricking it already.
I'm sort of buzzing a little.
I mean, they're 2 home games, and they're at the weekend, so I get to go, which is nice. Was it Spurs? Is the Saturday morning, isn't it? 12:30
Saturday early kickoff, and I don't like that. I don't like.
Kickoff today was 12 o'clock.
No. Yeah, but it's Brentford aren't Spurs. It's not the local rivals, is it? It's not the neighbours down the road. The reason I don't like it is that I feel like it's been maybe a little while since we've had an early kickoff with Spurs. I don't know. I don't know if that's happened a huge amount, because I know there was a time when basically any local derby was an early kickoff to stop drunken idiots.
What time do the pubs open on a Saturday?
Yeah, but they'll get their licenses and they'll open at 10. And
so don't worry, the atmosphere will still be absolutely bouncing at 12 o'clock.
Even necessarily the atmosphere, it's just that those games, like today, even today at Brentford, that Brentford crowd were subdued.
They were flat, yeah.
They were, I'm sure, the circumstances around the Queen, and also the fact that we were on top, fairly early on, meant that they didn't have a huge amount to shout about. But Brentford support is good support. And they were quiet, so, and I wonder if that filtered into the team's play.
But the Arsenal fans weren't quiet.
The Arsenal fans were great. No, the way in.
So I think that we have the one thing we needn't worry about is atmosphere next on that set in 2 weeks' time. I just can't see anything other than that. If it was bouncing an hour before kickoff for the Fulham game, I know it's earlier in the day, 5 hours earlier in the day, but it's Spurs. If they beat, their incentive is to leapfrog us with a win.
Yeah.
I mean, will they sit back? I mean, Conte's an old dog. Will he sit
That's
back?
all they do. That's all they do. I've watched their last couple of games.
Okay,
now.
so answer this question. Should we go for it from the start?
No.
Oh, how are they not going to go for it from the start?
But it's the balance we had, and that's what I like today. That one of the first things I wrote down, because I actually made a couple of notes today, because there were a couple of things I definitely wanted to mention. One of the first things I mentioned was it felt like a controlled away performance. Yes, it was intense. Yes, there was pressing from the front and all that kind of usual things, but not so gung-ho that we were going to be, left wanting should Bournemouth find a way through.
Do you think that was because Ødegaard wasn't playing?
Wouldn't like to say. Because Vieira, not Vieira, Xhaka was still occupying his quite advanced position. A party, I mean,
he made a huge difference.
And this is obviously no offense to Lokonga, but Lokonga is younger and is just, he's not as good as Partey. It's just obvious. But that drop off is the biggest drop off in all the other positions.
Yeah.
Because, Ben White goes out, Tomiyasu comes in, fine. Tierney played in today instead of Zinchenko. Zinchenko does a bit more with that inside midfield role, but Tierney's still a great defender. The centre backs can rotate a bit. There's a bit of a drop off, with Rob Holding.
We don't know about Ramsdale to Turner or Jesus to Eddie, but yeah, there's no. I think
Partey to Lokonga
is the biggest drop.
Yeah, it really is, because I don't know, something about Partey. He's so positive in the way he puts himself in between the opposition and the ball, and just makes it happen. But then is really proactive in what he does with the ball if he wins it. It is just different. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really strong kind of triangle. That's the wrong word, but with Saliba and Gabriel and Partey in front. That's almost. I go back to the Brazil teams where they literally play with those three slightly more defensive players, and then everybody else was.
And that's about it. Yeah, exactly.
Was targeted with or tasked with the forward role. But
who was that pivot most of the time? Obviously, it was Dunga in the 90s when I was a kid, but then Gilberto Silva.
Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah, the silent wall, wasn't it? That he's called. Yeah.
And I keep having these conversations with people about the sort of unglamorous players in a team, and we've got a couple of those now, which I think is to be valued. But yeah, Gilberto Silva was just.
Yeah, so even our sporting director Edu was one of those as well.
Yeah,
Ray Parlour. He played every game he was fit for. Pretty much, Ray Parlour played, and he wasn't. I know his little moniker is the Romford Pele, but he certainly wasn't a Pele-esque player. Having said that, he did score an FA Cup final goal worthy of Pele against Chelsea. So there is always that. And I think did he get a European hat-trick as well? I think he did. Ray Parlour.
So on Partey in the midfield then, Ghana, again, I looked this up, they play a friendly against Brazil. He's going to play in that. That's a bit of a glamour tie. I can imagine him playing that. But their second game is Nicaragua, which is not. So Ghana are qualified for the World Cup. I'm sure Partey will play a part in one of those games. If he plays in two of them and gets injured, it's going to be Kieran Tierney all over again.
Yeah. But
one would hope that he comes through that relatively unscathed. Because it is a friendly. And Brazil look good for this World Cup, in a hot climate. So lots of their players, it's just a friendly. I really hope people aren't really pushing the boat out and letting tackles fly in and possible injuries occur, but we shall see.
Yeah, it's not in either country's interest, is it?
No. No. Because
It
an injury now,
might rule them out.
yeah, even a lesser significant injury.
Yeah,
Even one for 6 weeks, that's not only going to be your injury recovery, but it's also going to be your match sharpness as well.
Although Partey had been out for quite a little stretch, and he didn't look rusty at all, did he?
No, but again, I hope that's the club, because Arteta's talked about not bringing back players sooner than needed. So.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that Ødegaard won't go with Norway. I'm assuming that Zinchenko isn't going with Ukraine. He was suspended for the the 3 Brazilians aren't going with the Brazilian squad. Ben White hasn't been selected for, but he's carrying a knock as well, by the way. So this 2 weeks, this is why I say, because we won so comfortably today after a break, I'm actually not that disappointed that or worried that momentum will be kind of interrupted. And I don't think, if you can't get up for Spurs at home after the international break, and they're going to have loads of players away as well. Like they're not going to be any different. I'm assuming Son is playing somewhere. Kane will obviously be playing every minute for England. Hopefully.
Really well. We'll have to.
And
England are playing Nations League, so they're
playing
with something on it.
They've got tough teams, isn't it?
Italy is one of them. I can't remember who the other one is off the top of my head. Yeah, Eric Dyer is being called up, I think.
I mean, just on that though, if Ben White hasn't been selected because of form, and Harry Maguire and Eric Dyer and players like that have been called up, it's really says a lot. I mean, I'm pleased he's not been called up, to be fair.
Yeah.
Who have we got there? Ramsdale and Saka.
Ramsdale would be an interesting one because Pickford's injured. Yeah. So I think
he's number 2.
I'm not. Well, I don't know because Southgate's used Pope more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, his form hasn't been, but I mean, he was very well protected today, and I can't remember I don't know what the stat is now, but at the last game we were at, I said this is pre-Man United game that we'd allowed the fewest number of shots on goal.
Yeah.
And Spurs have allowed the highest number of shots on goal as of now.
This is what's baffling me about Spurs, because they are playing full-on Conte ball. I know they got all excited about beating Leicester, but that's, that shouldn't be taken away that Leicester are absolutely dog crap at the minute. I nearly swore. It's worse, but there we go. We're getting this one recorded. And yeah, watching that game, Leicester could have still got something out of it until Son came off the bench and just decided to shoot at every opportunity, and they just went in. Spurs just soak up pressure and hope that they can hit on the counter.
Well, see, I'm hoping that they come at us a little bit more than.
But they won't.
No, they won't.
I promise you, they won't.
But we're going to go for it, Stefan. I'm sorry, we are. I just can't see. You talk about the crowds, and I'm not. That was the biggest mistake at White Hart Lane last time out against this lot. We played into their hands completely.
Well, we might play into their hands again next week.
Well, hopefully Arteta's learned. Hopefully Arteta's learned his lesson. But controlled aggression, controlled attack. I think that's the key.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to see who is available, because obviously Tierney will be a bit more reserved in his positioning. And then, sorry, I've just got my eye on the telly because I've got Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid.
It was 2-0 to Real.
Before it's 2-1, but it's just been the most horrible game. And now there's a big melee, and the ref's about to send someone off, and it's just crazy. Anyway,
where is it? Is it Real?
Wanda Metropolitano.
Right, I did see very unsavoury chanting from outside.
There's been stuff thrown from the crowd. There's been the usual Simeone antics. There's been some horrendous fouls committed by the Atletico players. So yeah. Like I was saying, if we did play a little bit more reserved, with the likes of Tierney, and White, does get forward, but still, keeps defending as a priority, that wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. We don't have to. I don't know. We don't have to go and chase it. They have to come and chase it from us. We're top of the league.
No, they don't. It's not like last season where that was very much the case. We had a draw suited us down to the ground.
I know.
And we didn't play as if that was the case. The team. I'll tell you how I feel when I hear the team news.
Mm.
Although I thought Vieira was really good today, and what I loved about his goal was the side he put it in was not the side anybody thought he was going for. He was shaping for the kind of curler around, but he went for the direct arrow shot. And I thought that was clever. But what was really funny was his reaction. I don't think he thought it'd gone in. He didn't.
Yeah, just stood there. Wait, I think he was like you say, he was waiting for it to go wide. Yeah.
Yeah, he hit the post. He didn't know. I'm not sure he thought it hadn't actually gone in off the post. It was like one of those things. But he can't. He's actually. I know he's 35 million quid, and he's actually started his Arsenal career better than I thought he would. So
22.
Yeah, he's.
I know. Obviously, he came to us with a bit of a niggling injury or fitness issue or something along those lines. And I can't remember what interview it was, but Arteta was asked about him. And I don't know, there was a wry little smile from Arteta. He was just like, no, you'll see plenty of it. And it just made me think, well, what have we bought here? And then obviously he came on for a little bit of a cameo against United and just... All right, the game we were chasing it by then, but his touches just did look a bit really composed for that situation. And then I played against Zurich and did well.
And he withstood the physical aspect today. Now, Brentford are a physical team as well. I mean, having said that, there are no real, if you think of your Bolton and your Stoke, and that there aren't those really just kick 'em teams. Maybe Everton away might come into that.
That's Brentford all over. I think I said to you before the game, it's just effort. They're not a kick 'em team, but they are a physical team. They are a high energy team. They are a full on effort team, which is just, I think it's admirable. I really enjoy watching Brentford when they're not when they're
playing us.
Else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Tony just looks. He's a baller. But yeah.
And Vieira got man of the match on Arsenal.com, I think. I know Jesus got it on Sky.
Would you have given? I wouldn't have given it to either of them.
Do you know what? Just for the sheer, I know. I think we have not talked about this, but I would. I have a third name in the offing as well. Yeah.
Xhaka.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah. He's been brilliant. Have we? It's just if we bought Douglas Luiz as we did bid for him, you've got to think he would have played obviously instead of Partey if we have had a game since then. I'm not sure we've had a game since then, but would he have? He's not keeping Xhaka out of the team at the moment, is he?
No.
So
he would have been bought as a rotation, a midfielder to rotate.
A Europa League player to begin with.
Yeah, to basically take the burden off Xhaka and Partey. Because that's the thing. My excitement about where we're at and where we could be going is tempered by the fact that we have to keep Xhaka and Partey fit. Yeah,
they don't play any Europa game. They play no Europa game, and then they're playing one game a week, so they're okay.
Squad size means that they probably will. But of all the players that will rotate out, it'll be Partey.
Hang on. Something else happened today that gives us another midfielder.
What?
The 15-year-old.
Right, we finally get to it. Let's talk.
I'm in a bit of a daze because I had to check the calendar. I thought 2007, the year he was born, was last week. So I'm,
It does feel like that, doesn't it? It's crazy. So there's been so many things said online.
Yes.
Since the Emirates.
Yep.
Since Bergkamp retired.
Yep. Saka was at school when he was born. and Saka's only 20.
I was saying to Laura, "Oh, we've just brought this kid on." She was like, "All right." I was like, "Yeah, but he was born in 2007." She's like, "What?" Me and my wife only met in 2008, which feels like we haven't known each other that long, but it
well, Indigo's not here at the moment, so my 16-year-old sent me a voice note on WhatsApp, not even a text, simply saying, "Dad, why have we got a 15-year-old playing?" Like she's feeling she's at 16 either past it or somehow hasn't achieved much in her life.
So here's a question then, because she's got this Noamini that she'll sort of be aligned with. She'll be as old as him throughout his career.
Yeah.
Mine was Walcott.
All right.
Really. I mean, I know I'm the same age as Ronaldo, but Walcott was the one where I was like, "All right," because Walcott I think is just a little bit younger than me, but not much. And that was the one where I thought, "Oh wow, actually, I'm getting to the age where I'm footballers' ages now." Who was yours?
Oh, geez. Who was the same age?
Through the ranks?
Well, I don't know, to be fair, because the Invincibles team, a lot of them were a similar age to me.
Yeah.
I think, or maybe a little bit younger, but like.
Okay.
How old is Edu? I'm just curious.
Ooh.
How old is Vieira? Are they like in their mid to late 40s, or are they a bit younger than that?
I couldn't tell you.
Because Arteta's like 41, isn't he, or something like that?
Edu's 44.
Right. Okay. So no, he's. I don't know. How old is? I can't say Sol Campbell because he came up via. How old is Ray Parlour?
46 is Vieira.
Okay, Ray Parlour.
Oh, hold on.
I think he's got to be close.
He's a bit older, surely.
Yeah.
Ray Parlour. Here we go. Romford Pele. 49.
There you go. I am 49, so there you go. me and I see he's getting name checked twice today. Me and the Romford Pele are undefeated. So he would be, and he came up through the club's underage team. So he was, there you go. So there's I'm Ray Parlour, you're Theo Walcott and Indigo.
No, I'm not. You know what? Theo Walcott is when I noticed. I think I must have had something in my head where it was like, oh, actually, I'm cheering on a kid, because Theo Walcott is 33.
Right, okay.
I wish I was 33.
Yeah, me too.
I am not 33. So I don't know whose mine would be. Probably, what about Fabregas? Definitely feel like it. Yeah, Fabregas 35. That's probably a bit closer.
Yeah, if we were to find someone who's your age.
Well, I mean,
that's
Rooney and Ronaldo.
No, but it's come through the Arsenal.
Who was just before Fabregas? That's the thing, isn't it? Ali Adier?
I don't know.
Frimpong was after, wasn't
he? I have no idea.
Pennant, Jermaine Pennant.
Oh right, yeah, maybe. That's a nice. Oh, David Bentley.
I'm not doing David Bentley.
Bentley, because he was an interesting one.
39 is Pennant. Yeah, so I don't know. But anyway, we've got a 15-year-old.
That's
number one. I think when he was born was like Girls Aloud. I think I looked that up and it was Girls Aloud.
The thing is, he's like in year 11.
He's in year 11.
That's how on earth is he going to? How on earth is he going to focus on his GCSEs?
I'm not being funny. I know you're thinking about that from a teacher point of view, and maybe as a father as well. I'm not thinking about my GCSEs. No.
And
if I'm him, I couldn't give a monkey's. I'm going into school tomorrow, collar up, sunglasses on. Why?
He didn't look 15, did he?
No, he didn't. I must say, he looks a lot older than the 15-year-olds. I think.
And I know Marquinhos, who's 19. They didn't. You wouldn't say there was 4 years between the two of them coming on.
Yeah.
But
Marquinhos looks definitely well seasoned.
Yes. David Bentley's 38.
Oh shit. Yeah. Oh no, I said it. You made me swear. But David Bentley's he's Tottenham. No, I'm not having that.
He's actually only you're October, aren't you?
October, yeah, not far away.
So he's only 2 months older than you.
All right.
And he's born in Peterborough. I didn't know that.
Oh God, East Midlands, both East Midlands.
There you
God,
go.
it could have been me.
It is David Bentley.
Yeah.
Like he retired. I just got rid of him now. But he retired quite young and took up art or something like that. He was a bit of an odd, not an odd, but like a quirky character, I think. But yeah.
And an invincible. Technically goes down as an invincible, doesn't he?
Does he? Oh, right. I didn't know. Yeah.
Well, because I think, didn't he play some games towards... Because when you take the start of the run, it was the previous season. And he'd played a couple of games at the end of the season or something. Just so did Pennant and a couple of others. Because there wasn't anything on the games or whatever. So, yeah. I seem to remember a 6-3 against Southampton that kind of kicked it off.
We've got someone watching us. But I'm not really... This isn't going live. They've just gone again.
Maybe you have gone live.
Someone's hacked in.
Yeah.
I'm not aware that I have. Anyway, I don't think so. But they've gone again now. So I've scared them off. Unless I am watching me and I can. I don't know. So today was just stress-free. I was stressed the entire game, but looking back on it, there was no reason to be.
No, none at all.
Controlled.
Yeah.
Did Ramsdale make a save?
Yeah, there was one. I seem to remember on 70 minutes when everyone was clapping for the reign of the Queen. It was probably Brentford's best spell. They were knitting a few passes together, pushed us back, and there was one save that Ramsdale made with his legs. Relatively routine, you'd say, but still had to be made. And
there was the penalty decision, which I thought, obviously I didn't see. I saw the referee make for the penalty and then realised it was offside. That was at 3-0 as well.
See, I don't remember that incident itself. What I remember is the one where it looked like he'd given a penalty, but actually he'd given a free kick because Martinelli was holding on the edge of the box. And then...
Oh, right, yes.
Tony did his homage to Matt Letizia.
Yeah.
That was rather audacious.
It wasn't far away either.
No, and what annoyed me, and it annoyed Ramsdale as well, because he soon barked at the defenders, is no one tried to close him down. He had all that time to chip it up, and no one was even moving. Everyone was just stood. So, yeah, that was a bit of a one. Brilliant.
Sorry,
I was just about to talk about the first goal. Xhaka's ball and the header back across goal by Jesus was just...
wasn't that the second goal?
That was the second goal. Sorry, that was the second goal. The first goal was a corner, wasn't it, Saliba?
Yeah, Saliba. I mean, we are a big team and we score lots of corners.
Doing the Steve Bold run to the near post.
Yeah, that was. I mean, he wasn't going for goal. It was a flick on, wasn't it? And I was waiting for some intervention from VAR because Jesus was standing in the middle in the 6-yard box offside.
Do you know what? What has also clicked with me? I didn't moan about VAR once. I mean, maybe it was that kind of game. It was played in the right spirit.
Well, there was nothing controversial, was there?
Nothing controversial, but at the same time, perhaps there could have been. Those offside decisions, that penalty decision. They could have deliberated on those longer and made it more of a thing than it needed to be. But actually, they got on with those decisions fairly quick and routine. And actually, we so rarely get to praise the refs. When David, is it David Coote? Was he the ref today?
Yeah.
When he spotted that Martinelli foul.
That was good.
Brilliant. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, you can't argue. Yeah, it's like you can't argue with that.
Not at all.
No, and if it's fair, it's fair. And it was him. And it was him doing it, spotting it, not VAR in his ear.
Yes.
But yes, now I saw a little clip from the studio at halftime where is it Jamie Redknapp and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank were, right. And Hasselbank was praising the cross and Redknapp was praising the strength. I mean, for me, it was a beautiful cross. Don't get me wrong, but there was no power on it.
No.
all the power came from Jesus' neck, and that was, I was like, I couldn't believe it had gone in. And even looking on the replay, I'm thinking the keeper's got to be disappointed with that. He got his hand to it, and like it got to be. It's a header. It's not a bullet header. Like it's not. The ball wasn't fizzed across, and you just got to get your head on it, and it'll rock into the net. It was all the power from it came from Jesus. I just thought the header was amazing. But strangely, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the striker, praised the cross. He said it was all in the cross because it made up Jesus's mind what he had to do with it, which was pang it across back to from whence it came.
And that's pleasing because I've been surprised by the variety of Jesus's play generally, but now the goals he's scoring as well. It just,
Yeah, I mean, he just his stats. He's got 4 goals and 3 assists. Only Haaland has got more than him this season so far. More goal involvement.
He's also just equalled Lacazette's tally for last season.
Yeah, in game 7.
Yeah.
I
mean, touch wood that he does actually score more, and that's not it.
Yeah, actually, we shouldn't say anything yet. He might still be equal to him in game 38.
What a player we've
he's been kind of transformative, hasn't he? He's given us not just a focal point up front, but he's given us this energy and drive and this passion, and he clearly is loving his football. He's loving his game, and that's infectious. That's just got to spread. I mean, we definitely got mates rates for him.
Well, you'd think so. I mean, Zinchenko as well.
75 million for the two of them.
But I knew people talked about his work ethic and his professionalism and everything like that, but just the commitment of the guy is just unreal. And Jesus, just like you say, you can see he's got a determination about him, but he also plays with a smile on his face.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's just magic.
Yeah, it's like
this is so weird. Like we're just.
Can I give you another? I think I text you this, and I said old Eeyore me. If he gets booked against Spurs, he misses the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that first what do you call it? When you reach
the amnesty.
Yeah, what date that is for 5 yellows, but it's certainly not after 7 games.
Oh, I think that's at the end of the transfer window. I think it's a lot later in the season.
Yeah, we're gonna get. He's gonna miss a game.
Well, I'd be not. Well, if he's going to miss a game, it's got to be
Leeds.
Yeah, get booked in the Liverpool game.
Or does it?
Don't get booked because
does it count for League Cup games?
Well, yeah, anything under the FA's remit.
Right, so we're playing Brighton in the League Cup at some point, aren't we?
Yeah, but that's not till November.
Is it not?
Yeah, that's really late. Because they're having like 1 round of the League Cup, I think, maybe 2, and then it's the World Cup. Then it's the World Cup. It still feels weird.
That's going to really wind
it's
me up.
Mess with my mind.
Yeah.
It's going to make the end of term. Both of us as teachers, it's going to make the end of term really interesting because all the talk will be football. Like even more so because the World Cup brings in people who aren't really football fans.
I've not actually looked at any of the fixed. Have they? Yeah, they have. I've not looked at any of the fixtures.
All the groups have been drawn on that.
Yeah, is it Ecuador? No. Who's risking expulsion because they fielded?
Oh, that is Ecuador. Yeah.
So now, are they playing the opening game of the tournament? I think.
I couldn't tell you.
I'm club over country all day long. I want Arsenal to win the league ahead of England winning the World Cup. I don't care what anyone says to me about that. I'll obviously watch the World Cup, but I've not looked at how the dates tie in with term time or.
I've just looked up England's
at the weekend, hopefully.
England's 21st of November is their first game against Iran, and it's a 1:00 kickoff.
What? Right, hang on.
24th of November is a Monday.
This is 1 o'clock on a Monday. I start working at 1 o'clock on a Monday.
1 o'clock on a Monday. That's when lunch finishes at our school, and then we've got 2 hours until 3 o'clock. So that's the afternoon written.
Oh, do you have 2 hours after lunch?
Well,
we have one. Oh yeah, we have one. I couldn't do.
Oh
I
no,
couldn't work
my school does
not 2-1-2. Oh no.
I know.
No.
I've been saying this.
I would quit. I would
been
quit a
saying
school
this
on that basis.
2-1 everywhere.
Yeah, 1 hour after you get to lunchtime, your day's done.
I know.
Okay, what's the next game? What's the next England game?
Oh, hang on.
This is an Arsenal podcast where we've kind of detoured.
But we're going to think about the ramifications for Arsenal and their job. 25th of November at 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's a Friday at 7. That's what that people will make up for that one.
That will be.
And the final group game.
29th of November at 7 o'clock again. So that's Tuesday. Oh, do you know what? That's against Wales.
Oh,
I know.
Right. I'm just looking at my tutoring board. On a Monday at 7 o'clock, I've got.
Oh no, that's on a Tuesday.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's a Tuesday. Hang on.
Tuesday, 29th. But that's just England. Like kids at school, they'll be watching every game, or trying to. We'll have it on in the hall. This thing is
the Monday one might be on because the Monday one is lunchtime. Yeah, as you say, our lunch is 1:15 to 2 o'clock.
All right, like a normal school.
So actually, we get the first half. We get the first half done.
No matter what, yeah.
Tuesday.
Don't get me wrong. While I'm teaching my lessons in the afternoon, whisper it. It will be on my laptop.
Well, I've got a Year 9 group, and there's a few football fans in there. So I don't know if I can get away with it. I might. Hopefully, the school will actually just say, "Look, everyone, watch it if you want."
Well, that's it. My almost all my leadership team are all PE teachers and are all sport.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, let's. Have I got any more stats written down? Oh yes. Saka having his worst start to a season. Only De Bruyne has more assists than him.
And I read a thing about he's now had 36 assists or goals, 18 of each. He's had 18 assists, 18 goals, and only one other player has had more since by his age.
Wow. Okay.
Only one other player, and that's Fabregas.
Fabregas. All right. I mean, that's
getting that assist today means he overtook Anelka. And Anelka had more goals than assists, but yeah. Yeah.
So
he's just incredible.
Yeah, he's so good that when he's even when he's not as spectacular as we'd like him to be, he's still very, very bloody good.
But this is the thing. You know, at what point? I think this is true of quite a few of our players, that what they do well does go unnoticed. There's a kind of no thrills about the way we play, which is efficient, and I like it. And not that we're playing bad football, we're playing good football, but it's just it's got an efficiency about it, and doesn't have a kind of. There is flair there, but it's flair with individuals. It's Odegaard's passing. It's Jesus's dribbling. But it's the combination play. It's the play as a team, which is so frightening.
Yeah, but you mentioned it a bit earlier. I think the tune is changing after today. I've noticed that on Twitter there's a lot more neutrals because they can't hide behind Brentford away is an easy game.
No.
And everybody acknowledges that we played really well against United, and on another day that game that could have been 3-1 the other way. So it's we could be sat here with 7 from 7. I'm quite happy to settle for 6 wins from 7.
I mean, to think we've got to the first international break and we're top by a point or two.
Yeah, one point ahead of Spurs and City.
And having lost only one game, I mean. I'd have bit your hand off for that.
And Spurs up next. And here's a statistic for you for Spurs. In in the last 29 Premier League visits to us, how many times do you think they've beaten us?
In the last 29?
29 Premier League visits to us. How many times do you think they've beaten us?
Just in the Premier League?
Just in the Premier League.
4?
Once.
Was that the 3-2?
I've no idea, but it was Albinho tweeted it earlier, and I thought I'm writing that one down.
I seem to remember watching. I definitely watched Tottenham beat us at the Emirates with my best mate, who's a Spurs fan. Sorry, in a pub in Norwich that seemed to be full of bloody people who didn't like Arsenal. And it was a game where Van der Vaart took a free kick and Fabregas handled the ball in the wall, and the ref gave a penalty, and that's kind of what did it for us, really. That's what I remember as being the defeat. But yeah, I was going to say earlier when we mentioned the Spurs game coming up is that there was a time when it just seemed to be a draw. No matter what happened, it was just a draw. But now we're in a rhythm of basically whoever's the home team wins. So, you know, I'll be relatively confident next time. But there's just something about this Spurs team, and I was really hoping that the Sporting defeat that they had would manifest in a run of poor things. But then they played Leicester next, and Leicester
They had the easiest follow-up game.
You were going to cherry pick a team to play at the minute.
Yeah.
Leicester are just off the
and I was a little bit miffed that they didn't get the chance to lose to Man City.
Well, that would have been the real test, wouldn't it? And, you know, funnily enough, again, my Tottenham friend was saying he's almost disappointed that they didn't play City because they're feeling really confident at the minute. But then he did follow up and said, yeah, Haaland.
So, yeah. And there's a chance that he might not play in the rearranged game because he might be injured, but he definitely would have played last weekend. Yeah. But I'd rather have Everton home as the game extra than Man City away as the game extra. Do you know what I mean?
We're going to have Man City at home.
Oh, God, we've got that as well, yeah, because of the PSV game.
Now moved. So, that's tricky. I don't know where they're going to fit these games in because there's nothing. It's after the World Cup, isn't it? So yeah, they're going to have to scrap cup replays again, like they have done. I think around COVID games. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I cannot wait for that Tottenham game. I think it's going to be absolutely electric. Well, see, I work in an area where the support is split pretty evenly, 50-50 Spurs v Arsenal. But primarily it's the bloody caretakers. Two of them. We have a new one as a Gooner, actually, but the two old hands have been there longer than I have, so they predate me 12, 13 years ago. They're big Spurs fans, and one of them in particular is one of those irritating Spurs fans who who just serves to remind you why you dislike the club so much. Whereas the other one's a decent, you can have a decent football chat with him most of the time. But the other guy, forget about it. It's like, you can't. He basically barks tabloid headlines at you or talk sport headlines at you, and that's it. And you just like, yeah. So I know they will come looking for me if Spurs were to win that game. Yeah. Them and quite a few choice students as well. Even though I never say anything beforehand, I've learned my lesson many years ago. I don't big Arsenal up at all beforehand. But what was really pleasing about today's performance is knowing that Spurs fans and United fans in particular, maybe Chelsea fans as well, but Spurs United definitely would have sat down at the start of that game like rubbing their hands with glee, thinking they're going to drop points this time. I think all the neutral fans were, and because the commentators couldn't help but mention last year's defeat to Brentford over and over and over again. So I think the whole football world was basically going, well, here we go. Brentford like to stick it to teams, especially teams bigger than them, in inverted commas. But yeah, so
and so
it
was a real source of warm joy that by half time they'd all switched off and they were watching something else. Have you got any? So I've done the team.
I did some.
That's it. I'm out on my interesting facts.
No, we've pretty much mentioned everything that I've put on there. Just my worry about Partey. He needs to be wrapped in cotton wool, and Xhaka was different gravy again.
Yeah, I mean, like Saliba. Okay, let me pose this question to you. We've talked about Jesus as being like transformative. What about Saliba? If you look at Liverpool, they bought Van Dijk, and along with Alisson, but Van Dijk more than any other player, more than Salah, more than Mane, more than Firmino. For me, Van Dijk just lifted them to another level.
He was the last piece that enabled them.
You could no longer get at them with him there, whereas they were always susceptible to conceding goals. They were always going to score goals, but once he turned up, that was it. Saliba's a lot younger than Van Dijk was when he went to Liverpool. But you can see why the comparisons are there. He
plays with a maturity as well, doesn't he? Was it the build up to the third goal?
No, I know what you're talking about, where we thought he'd turned into trouble, but he turned out of trouble again, played a 1-2 and set off a. Now I'm not sure did we score from that, but we scored shortly after that. If we didn't, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And that was the component. A player does that. Shkodran Mustafi does that, and everyone's tearing their hair out. He did it, and you were like, okay, we could get into trouble, but just calmly played it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a risk I want him to see take over and over again, but there's just something in his strength and his balance. He's a good footballer. That's the thing. I think he's a better footballer than I realised he would be.
Yeah, and he hasn't. There's him and Saka obviously who need to sign these contract extensions. The Saka one, I think, by all accounts, is all over bar the shouting. It's there,
give it whatever he wants. Just
but
Saliba's a different.
Listen, if he and I agreed with the move from his perspective, don't sign an extension. See how the next 4 months pan out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. You've had your answer. Arteta was eulogising about him today, saying hasn't trained for 10 days, had one training session before yesterday, and plays like that.
Well, Thomas Frank, is it Thomas Frank?
Yeah.
Even he was talking about Saliba in his post-match. I mean, that's how impressive he was. So he's loved by the fans already, and
he was an Arsenal fan as a kid.
Oh, aren't they all?
Yeah. No, they're not. But these ones are.
I get the feeling that. Do you remember Robbie Keane? And
yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah,
that was so funny. Every
club. Yeah.
Oh, I've loved these.
Well, I've already told you I'm putting both my boys in every big football team's kit just in case. Yeah. But
I mean, I'd love Saliba to sign on. I think he's magic so far, but he might wait until the World Cup's done. I think that will be a key.
Well, he's not losing his place in the Arsenal team anytime soon. If anyone's susceptible, it's Gabriel, who I thought was excellent today. He's the one that would risk dropping out for Ben White and Tomiyasu then coming in at right back. So unless Saliba gets injured, and he can't, he can't not know about the esteem in which he's held by the Arsenal fan base when he hears his name. It must be weird on the pitch itself, and you hear this noise, and then your name just appears randomly in the middle of this noise, and the noise continues again, and then your name just randomly appears, and you're like, what the hell is this?
That's what my wife was saying earlier, because she was just sort of smiling to herself, going, "It's just such a long way to go."
Yeah.
You could then just say Saliba. I was like, "Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?"
Yeah, but it's that I've not heard an Arsenal chant praised everywhere by fans of like they're like there's a begrudging
chant. It's not a chant. Is it?
It's like it's
a
lots of
and then a name.
and then a name, and that's it. But it started behind us.
Yeah, again, was that the Leicester game or Villa?
Oh, it wasn't Villa. It was before that. Yeah, it was before that.
It must have been Leicester.
So it would have been the Leicester game.
So
yeah, so no, it must be. But how? Like that's
because there was one that they used to sing at him at another club, at Marseille or Saint Etienne or something like that. I don't know. It's just funny.
It's
so funny.
It is. Right. Anything else to say about today's game or international?
It feels weird because it was really quite. So just a good performance, a routine win.
Well, we've actually that's 2-3-0 wins we've had away from home this season already.
It's crazy. I mean, 2-0 against Palace was good.
Yeah, 3-0 Bournemouth and 3-0.
Bournemouth could have been more. Probably should have been more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying not.
It was good to get a clean sheet in again because we hadn't had a clean sheet for 4 games.
Clean sheet. Good.
Jesus scoring is good, always good.
Jesus chipping in, yeah, absolutely. Vieira's first goal, amazing. Xhaka playing well. I mean, it really is. There's nothing to. Yeah, it feels weird not to be negative at all.
15-year-old, the youngest ever Premier League player, beating Phil Foden by quite a long way.
I don't think it was Phil Foden. I think there was someone even. I think Harvey Elliott at Liverpool.
Oh, Harvey Elliott might be the second one up. Yeah,
I think he beat Foden. Yeah, I mean, should a 15-year-old be playing men's football if you're good enough? You're old.
Well, I had read about him during the week that this 15-year-old had been invited to some first team training sessions. Yeah. There's the guy called George Bird. He cover all the art. He writes for Arseblog now, but I've been following him before. He was one of the Arseblog writers, and he's been.
You knew him before he was famous.
Yeah, before, yes, absolutely. So he talks about the next new kid on the block kind of thing, and he said that he only had a few training sessions with the first team, not he hadn't been. And I don't think he played. I think it's the under-18s he's played for, not the under-21s or the under-23s. So that's a hell of a step up. But I tell you what, he didn't look like. There was one moment at the end after the game. There's a photograph, you may have seen it, where Martinelli has his arm around him in front of the away fans, and he's pointing at him like that. And that's when you see the 15-year-olds. Right. He doesn't know where to look. He doesn't know. He's so far out of his comfort zone that you think, oh yeah, you are a kid. But he had that stony expression the whole time, warming up and standing there to come on. He must have been. I mean, I can't imagine his parents, but he must have been just a knot of nerves. I don't know, but
I mean, when I think, imagine if I got that opportunity now, and I'm 37, going on 38, I'd just be bricking it,
yes,
phrase. And he's bloody 15.
I mean,
insane.
People have been tweeting what they've been doing at 15, what they were busy doing at 15. And it's
because we're going to put this out, and I'm a teacher, I absolutely cannot say what I was doing at 15.
No, okay, I'm not going to cut it out.
I cannot say no.
We shall leave that. We shall leave that shrouded in eternal mystery. Right. Okay. Just got to. I've got 13 seconds to get under the hour. I'm going to do it. See you in 2 weeks for the Spurs game. Come on.
Bring it on. Come on.